Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. China suddenly announced export controls on rare earth items such as tungsten, tellurium, bismuth, molybdenum, and indium. The international price of rare earths soared to $100,000 per ton, a nine-fold increase from a year ago. Just as China tightened the valve, Russian President Putin turned around and shouted to the United States, "Welcome to my backyard to dig rare earths," and give away 2 million tons of aluminum as a gift. This plot is even more exciting than a business war drama. Japanese auto executives were anxious to circle at the Tokyo Electronics Show, and the US F-35 fighter production line almost stopped due to lack of rare earths. The Trump team threatened Ukraine to sign a rare earth agreement, while sending people to Moscow to discuss business. Materials such as tungsten and tellurium that are subject to export controls by China are the lifeblood of the US military industry. Take tungsten for example. It is the core material for making armor-piercing bullets. 80% of the US antimony depends on imports from China. Once China cuts off supply, the price soared by 230%. The Japanese robot factory is full of parts that lack magnets, and it is useless for the Prime Minister to send people to plead. What's more, China simultaneously revised the catalogue of prohibited export technologies, directly welding the door to 4 key technologies, such as rare earth extraction and separation and permanent magnet preparation. Americans want to refine it themselves. Some experts have calculated, refining 100 tons of gallium will burn 180 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity, enough for the entire New York for half a year. The market reaction was also immediate. The stocks of Chinese rare earth companies soared 18% in a single day. Global magnetic material companies frantically stockpiled goods, and the price of praseodymium oxide jumped from $140,000 to $450,000 per ton. Tesla's humanoid robot production line was anxious, because each Optimus robot requires 3.5 kilograms of high-end neodymium iron-boron magnetic materials, and now even if you have money, you can't buy spot goods. China just hit a set of combined punches, and Putin immediately took the challenge. Russia announced in a high-profile manner that its own rare earth reserves beat Ukraine and opened up the Far East and Arctic mining areas to attract investment. On the surface, this wave of operations looks very magic finishing blow, but industry insiders know the tricks. Most of Russia's rare earth mines are buried in the permafrost zone, and the mining cost is 3 times that of China, not to mention how many projects can be delayed by environmental organizations. Putin's welcome gift of 2 million tons of aluminum sounds generous, but in fact, the real purpose is not wine. He said openly and secretly, "Want rare earths? How about we each cut 50% of our arms?" This move directly tied rare earths to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, forcing the United States to choose between military supply chain and geopolitics. Let's look at Russia's plan to increase rare earth production to 15% of the world by 2030. But the reality is very bleak. Russian companies do not even have mature technology for refining medium and heavy rare earths, and most of the ore has to be shipped to China for processing. However, after careful analysis, China's trump card is not only not useless, but is getting tighter and tighter. The first trump card is technological hegemony. 90% of the world's rare earth patents are in China's hands, especially the ion type or separation technology, which cannot be mastered without 20 years of experience. The Mountain Pass mine in California, USA, mines ore every year, but it has to be shipped to China for processing. Even if Putin mines ore, he still has to ask China to OEM in the end. The second card is the dominance of the industrial chain. From mining to permanent magnet motor manufacturing, China controls the entire chain. Northern rare earth alone accounts for 65% of the country's mining volume, and Jinli Permanent Magnet is expanding its permanent magnet material production capacity by 40,000 tons. In contrast, the United States has 13 processes from mining to magnetic materials, scattered in 8 countries, and any link will collapse. The third card is even more fierce, the pricing power revolution. The China Rare Earth Exchange will launch a spot price index in 2026, with real-time pricing in RMB. International buyers want to stock up now. You have to look at the Rare Earth Barometer, released by China first. When it comes to the future battle, 3 fronts have emerged. The first is the rise of resource nationalism. The EU spent tens of billions of euros to develop African mines, and Japan and Australia developed recycling technology, but the cost was so high that they went bankrupt. The funniest thing is Vietnam, which is digging its own rare earth mines crazily, but 80% of the raw ore is still sent to China for processing. The so-called getting rid of China has actually strengthened China's central position. The second is the technology breakthrough life and death game. The United States has introduced the Critical Minerals Security Act, claiming to rebuild the supply chain in 5 years, but China has simultaneously developed a rare earth traceability system, and the use of every gram of rare earth is strictly monitored. Rare earths are becoming rare metal version of oil. China promotes RMB settlement, and the United States wants to use futures to hedge risks. But the reality is cruel. 90% of the world's dysprosium and 100% of terbium are controlled by China, and Wall Street can't cook without rice, no matter how powerful it is. Looking back at Putin's assist, it seems to be a divine assist to China. Russia's entry into the game has made the world see 3 truths. The United States cannot even build the F-35 properly without China's rare earths. Europe cannot build a complete industrial chain even if it spends money for 10 years. Those alternative solutions are all empty talk. A slogan hangs in the workshop of Northern Rare Earth: rare earths are not soil, technology is gold. While the United States and Russia are still competing for mines, China has already held smelting furnaces, patent libraries, and pricing power. The end of this rare earth war may have been written into the periodic table. After all, elements don't lie, technology doesn't deceive people, and the market always follows strength.